Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We got a little bit of breaking news as the Chicago Bears have added yet another left tackle into the mix. They go get former first-round pick from the Browns, Jedrick Wills Jr. He's signing a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears. This is a solid move, right? It is not the end of the world. It is not, oh my God. But what I like about this is competition at that left tackle position. This is where I feel like you just say, look, we got to have bodies in the building. We got to have somebody that knows how to play the position. We've got two guys that understand the system already. And you've got Dan Richard now working with a former first-round pick who, at a minimum, I'm not going to sit here and say he's been phenomenal, but he's been solid at times on that left side. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I think that this is a move that if you look at the name, if you look at the stats, if you look at the PFF, you start to go, oh my God, this guy, like, why are you going out and adding names like this? But then you start to look at what the actual tape shows you, and you see a player that shows, as Dan Richard said, those traits of being a solid left tackle, especially in the pass blocking game. Now, the run blocking, he's going to have to get a little bit better. Was not healthy last season, got banged up last year, and so only played 245 offensive snaps. But I'm sorry, in 2024, he played 245 offensive snaps, was not healthy last season, so did not play at all. But here's the thing that I do like about this. He's got the body, he's got the size, he's got the lower half that you're looking for if you are the Chicago Bears. 6'5", 307 pounds, to be able to get out on that edge and anchor himself. To me, again, not an oh my God move, not a losing your mind move, but you're coming in with the same setup that you had last season to start the season. Because remember, Ozzie Trapillo was banged up early on, and then he started to get into that left tackle competition, but ended up getting he wasn't up to speed enough, and so the Bears kind of said, you know, we're going to slow play this and let you get yourself up to speed. To me, this is a move here where you're adding a different face into the competition that shows you the traits, but also shows you the ability, that upside that you're hoping to be able to develop out of him. Let me know how you guys feel about this move in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this. I think, yet again, right, I'm not sitting here saying home run, I'm saying single. Because of what you already have in the room. You had Braxton Jones last year. You had Theo Benedict last year. And remember, Braxton Jones was coming off an injury, so it took him a little time to get up to speed. And then Theo Benedict replaced him once it got into actual game time situation by the time we got to that Raiders game. And we were fine with Theo out there. Theo wasn't a world beater. Theo, right now, to me, is probably your number one option, if we're being honest, right? He wasn't the end of the world kind of guy, but I thought that Theo showed you enough to say, hey, there's some things here that you could really deal with. Now, last year, he was still dealing with some lingering issues from an MCL injury that he had in 2023. And so we didn't see him get onto the field. But bottom line to me, like, this is competition for that room. Hey, you want to push Braxton Jones to be better. Braxton, you're getting another shot at your job. And there's a $5 million incentive added to it if you actually can hold on to your job. This could yet again be your job to win. Now you have to go out there and start to build on some of the traits that you saw in that first season. Dan Richard, now with some time in there, now with some opportunity to work with these guys already, with him and Theo, I think that's a good move there. And then you bring in a Jedrick Wills Jr., who, to me, I look at him as the starting caliber player that can come in and take the job from everyone. I look at him as the starting caliber player that if Dan Richard likes him more, if Dan Richard likes what he sees and is able to push him a little bit more, I think that you see somebody who, when he gets out there, Dan Richard may go, listen, that's your competition, and he can beat you today. Again, solid piece to me, a competitive piece. I feel like the Bears are making some good moves here, not some panic moves, especially because at the end of the day, while I would have loved a Taylor Decker, I would have loved for you to spend high there. There are two things that do help you in this situation. Number one, the sack avoidance that Caleb Williams showed last season is going to help whoever's out there. And early on in the season, even then, right? Like he was somebody when the pressure got to him, he could feel that pressure. He could get out of the way and actually make something happen there. The other thing that I think really helps you in this is it is not Ozzy Trapillo is never coming back. It is you needed a stopgap here for Ozzy Trapillo. And so if you invest in somebody like Taylor Decker and he fits in perfect, although it would have been great to have him next to Joe Thuney. I don't care what anybody says. It would have been great to have him next to Joe Thuney. But if he slots in there, you know, I look at a guy that could have been something where it starts to muddy the waters a little bit. Maybe you want to keep him a little bit more long term. The Bears are trying to keep this thing young. They're trying to keep this thing moving with a youth movement where you can spend money elsewhere. And so this still opens that door for Ozzy Trapillo to walk back in at the end of the day, and maybe even at the end of this season, and be able to come in and get his job. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Do you like the signing of Jedrick Wills? Do you feel like this is a name that is just thrown in there? Or do you feel like, hey, like this is a guy that had upside, that was a first-round pick, that showed you something at some point, but, and this is a conversation to have too, went to the Browns. Like there is something to be said about a guy who has gone through some of the offenses that we have seen in Cleveland, has gone through some of the offenses that we have seen, right, where you're sitting there hoping for the best, and the development maybe just wasn't there. What is this guy going to look like with Dan Rashard working with him? I think that's the biggest conversation for me. And so I like taking the chance on it. I feel like there's a real opportunity here for the Bears to develop a young piece, and what you may end up with if he's able to play and if you're able to develop him to a starting caliber point, right, is you get a player in here that you can build on and possibly trade away after this and get some, you know, well, I guess it would be a 1-year deal, so you'd have to re-sign him. I guess you wouldn't be able to trade him away at the end of this, but bottom line, like I think you're going with the upside on that, and I'm okay with that. I feel confident in the coaching staff that we have here that you'd be able to work with him and get the most out of him. Relentless Mikey said, Pat gonna make him Willis. I don't know why I keep calling him Jedrick Willis. Like, is that somebody's name? Is that somebody who's out there? I swear that's like where my mind continues to go there. The one thing that I will say, coming off of an injury and you know how quickly he's going to be able to acclimate to this is a completely new system. The two guys in the room already are a step ahead. The two guys in the room already they understand the system. They know how to play. They have played in this system. They're comfortable with this system. Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, both a step ahead. If he's able to come in and take the lunch off of your plate, that tells you exactly what you need to know. And remember, Dan Rashard was honest about this. When he was on the Terry and Arnold's podcast, not Terry and Arnold, when he was on Teron Armstead's podcast, he talked about, listen, we got guys that got traits. We got guys that they have moments. We don't have the guy. And if you're going to find the guy, sometimes you got to go fishing with some of this. The one thing that I do look at here, too, is if you can get the most out of him, and maybe it is just as a solid piece that is a veteran piece in the room, would love to have him as a backup possibly to Ozzy Trapillo once he gets back into the game. And if you can get him to a certain point, it allows Ozzy to have that comfort. Again, why would you go with the upside in this situation? Because you want to try and have somebody that possibly you could sign back here and have multiple pieces at that left tackle spot that can step in there and start, and you're not spending money in the future on guys like Braxton Jones. Chrissy Cross said, I really wish we'd get rid of Braxton Jones. I don't disagree with you, and you guys know how I feel about Braxton. I think he's, you know, unfortunately, I don't think he has the body to play left tackle in this NFL. He's definitely better in the run than he is in the pass pro, but even in the run, it's not like he is this elite piece. But the one thing that Braxton does bring to the table that I'll give him credit for, and that I think actually is something that it's not a bad thing to help the Bears with, is he does have 40 starts in some of those. It's when he goes up against the elite pass rushers that he's going to get cooked, right? So like we know that about him. We've seen that about him. Everybody in the league knows the bull rush is his issue. It's not going to be fixed coming into this season. I think Braxton Jones is who he is. But versus kind of those mid-tier pass rushers, versus the guys who or the rotational pieces, or versus the guys who are kind of just out there filling that roster spot and that are solid. Braxton Jones can hold his own in those situations. And so to me, that's the times where you're not going to face, this is not like last season, at least I don't believe so. I got to look at the schedule again. This is not like last season where every week there was supposed to be an elite pass rusher that you were going up against. You get a little bit of breathers in here at this point, and it's why I think they brought Braxton back, because 40 starts, knows the NFL, knows the system, knows how to play his game, knows how to work with Caleb Williams as well. I think those are things that can help you. Elite, when I played Braxton, he got pushed over. LMA. Listen, Braxton is not, when you talk about the people that Braxton's going up against, and I know what PFF says, I know what all these guys say, Braxton spent a lot of time on the ground. You hate to say it, he spent a lot of time on the ground. Ali the Cuss said, OT, in the 7th round, we may need to get a few defensive ends since the class is so deep, weak wing. Listen, I wouldn't be mad at finding a late round tackle, because the one thing about drafting tackle, I would draft tackle and probably try and find a quarterback at some point in just about every draft. Now, you don't have to go in the draft and do that. You could do that with UFDAs, but the one thing for me is if you get a tackle that's really good, but maybe is not elite, you can always move that guy into guard. And it's one of the optimal positions, especially if you feel like the development that you have is on point, where easy to flip, easy to trade. You show me some good minutes out there at left tackle or at right tackle, somebody that can step in and be very solid there. That is a commodity that can bring you back some solid draft capital every single year. So I love having a rotation of tackles that are coming in and getting that development. I'm not over him getting sacked with Caleb due to spray butter. Listen, we all know. We watched it, right? Hey, listen, there's a reason that on this show we be like, I'm in my room, right? We know. He's on one knee like he's singing R&B. But this is also not Braxton Jones next to... Ooh, who was out there? Who was our left guard that year? Coleman Shelton was the center. Right guard was Day-to-Day Davis. Right tackle would have been Darnell. Who was our left guard that year? Whoever it was, he was also on the ground in a terrible spot. Was Tevin Jenkins playing left guard that year? Ugh. Yeah, it tells you a lot. Tevin also just got re-signed. I thought Tevin was banged up that year, but I guess so. Yeah, nasty. Listen, this is Joe Tooney out there. This is a Hall of Famer. This is a guy that we know can go out there and make plays. This is not Tevin Jenkins standing out there. I think that helps whoever you put in at that left tackle spot as well. Like Ben said, we just need him to lose slowly. Honestly, yeah. Especially with the kind of quarterback that you have with Caleb Williams, especially Caleb Williams coming back in his second year. Here's the one thing that I think that you can't overlook that possibly could be a difference maker in how we look at Braxton Jones this season. Your hope is that Caleb Williams is going to be able to walk in here and essentially know the system like the back of his hand, right? If that's the case, that means the ball is getting out quicker. That means he's getting it to his receivers quicker. That means that he's not spending as much time reading the defense. And it means that he's not spending as much time back there doing the little spin-a-rooney every now and then to try and create something. This is the first quarterback that we have had that has had this opportunity, probably, I mean, I guess in theory since Mitch Trubisky, but realistically probably going all the way back to Rex Grossman. I say all that to say, when you talk about losing slow, all of a sudden losing slow doesn't turn into losses if the ball's out. All of a sudden losing slow turns into you are yet again, as he was as a 5th round pick, serviceable over there. And you can get the job done that we need you to get done for this game, because it is not you getting beat up immediately, which is why they ended up going to Theo Benedette in that game. Remember, Max Crosby was beating the mess out of Braxton Jones in that game, essentially picking on him in that game. Like that to me, I think is the biggest conversation to be had here. If Caleb is improving and Caleb gets the ball out quicker, it's not going to mean as much if guys are losing slowly, when you look at who's out there at left tackle. Doesn't mean it's not important. I think it is. I would rather have Ozzie. I would rather have somebody who can win at left tackle. But if you are going to deal with guys that have struggled, right? Like even with Jedrick Wills, right? Like he is somebody who has given up a ton of pressure in his career. I mean, you pair everything up with the tape, but with what you've seen. But the last time we saw him on the field in 2024, he gave up 6 penalties. He gave up 3 sacks. Pressures allowed were 11. Remember, he only played 245 snaps. You go back to 2023, he gave up 29 pressures, 5 hits allowed, 3 sacks allowed. 6 penalties again. It was pretty consistent year over year there. And then 2022 was a really bad year. Ended up giving up 6 sacks, gave up 41 total pressures, 11 hits allowed, had 10 penalties that year. But on top of all of that, Brown's system to Bears system. This is where development is going to be very, very key. Crizzy Cross said Braxton Jones is like the 1X yo bro keep messing with that everybody knows ain't good for him. Yeah, kind of. Nah, I wouldn't even say that. Braxton Jones is kind of like the fat chick that your one homie mess with that you like. She got too good of a heart for you to just be messing with her. You would need to leave her alone. Right? Braxton's a good dude. Braxton works hard. Braxton tries to do everything right. It just don't work. Yeah, I mean, and so it's kind of like you looking at the Bears and you like, listen, bro, like she good people, but if you not gonna be locking it down, like yeah, you need to leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? Rex said, bro, that is mad specific. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about, bro. Like, it's not, Braxton is not, I think people look at Braxton, they think Nate Davis. No. Braxton works hard. Braxton tries to do everything right. It's just a talent issue. You know what I mean? He ain't got the talent. Sometimes you got the good heart, but you ain't got the talent. That's what we dealing with here. By the way, over 100 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat. Over 300 in the chat. 300. Oh, dog. That's funny. That's funny. So Braxton can make you a sandwich, but can't cook you a full meal. Nah. Braxton can cook. Yeah, I mean, it's just you can tell that y'all not good together or that y'all don't want to be together. But you got no choice because that's the best option you got right now because it's 2:00 in the morning. Baki with the who's worse, Braxton Jones or Jamarcus Webb? Jamarcus Webb. I've seen Braxton Jones have good games. Jamarcus Webb is worse by far. I've seen Braxton Jones have good games. I have. Like I've come out of different games. I've come out of different watching Braxton's film and you go, he won that. He dominated that. I don't ever remember. Now, again, I wasn't covering it. I wasn't watching tape like that. So it's a very different Pat the designer. I guess I wasn't Pat the designer at that point. But like, I don't remember a good Jamarcus Webb play. I remember a lot of bad Jamarcus Webb plays, like consistently. Like Braxton will win a couple of plays in a drive. He'll lose a couple of plays, but those couple of plays he lose could take you off the field. Jamarcus Webb just sucked. Like Jamarcus Webb would lose every play in a row. Oof, that's a throwback name I did not need in my brain. Where are we at on Max Watch, said KP. Listen, at this point, it sounds like the Bears have definitely been in contact with the Raiders on the possibility of going out and getting Max Crosby. Last we heard from Adam Schefter, though, was that if you're not going to go out and pay the price that the Raiders want, the Raiders are okay keeping Max Crosby, which, listen, like, if we're being honest, if you're bringing in, and they're honoring all the contracts, you're bringing in a new quarterback, you've got a new center who we all feel in Tyler Linderbaum is a dominant center. You're bringing in a bunch of like really, really good pieces to add to this team via free agency, and you're adding Max Crosby to the mix. I do feel like there is a real conversation on, hey, we're holding on to our guy and we're going to move forward with him. You got him under contract. It's not like you don't. You've got the money to pay him. Yeah, you probably wanted to get younger a lot quicker, but I don't think that this is a, you know, the world is ending scenario for you unless you really just wanted those draft picks in this draft. If I'm the Bears, I'm not offering 2 first-round picks. If I'm the Bears, realistically, because of the bad PR that has happened around this, I'd probably offer 1 and maybe some late draft capital, right? Maybe a 3rd, maybe a 4th, like, just because this has gone so completely the other direction that now the Bears can kind of come back and say, well, you know, is there something more? Is there something missed? Is there something different? And that's just how negotiation go. The Bears got to do all their due diligence on the medicals and something like, and you know, what we saw before they made their original trade offer here. But it's just, it's more leverage for the Bears in the scenario that they're in right now. And so to me, if I'm the Bears, I'm not offering anywhere near what the first offer was, because I'm assuming there probably was a second in there. Now, I'd be okay if you offer a first and a second. I would be okay if the Bears look to make that move, right? Because I think that's good value for the player that you're getting back. But as far as the negotiating goes, I would be trying to stand firm on, hey, I got a first and a third for you. What you want to do? And then it comes down to the moves that they want to make. Again, though, I also think you got to monitor the situation. I doubt the Packers are in on him because you just saw the Javon Hargrave signing happen. So more than likely, that's kind of where they're going with that. I do wonder if Minnesota and or Detroit could be in on it. But there, you do have to play a little defense from some of the teams that are in your own division. And one of the worst things that you could have is Aiden Hutchinson and Max Crosby on the same defensive line, especially a pissed off, motivated Max Crosby because of how the Ravens treated him. I saw an article today that said he was in the building while they were working out the deal with Trey Hendrickson. In the building. Him and his family in the building. You gonna disrespect me in front of my kids? Oh, I can't wait to see Lamar. And it's just gonna be, hey, Lamar, this ain't personal. This business. This straight business. That's going to be an interesting matchup to see. Sending picks, Max is worth it. Yeah, listen, I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't be mad about it. Mario Moore said, not in front of the kids. Bro, like, yeah, I'm in the building. That's literally like you walk in the crib and your chick get knocked down and she make eye contact with you, but don't stop nothing. What we doing? Pat, when is the last day that they could trade for him? I mean, listen, you could trade for him all the way up to the draft. You could trade for him after the draft. You could trade for him going into the season. You could trade for him at any point. It's just about, you know, when do you want to trade for him? Realistically speaking, because the money is going to work out and all of that, if you traded for him after the draft, it'd be a better situation. You diss me in front of my fam. Oh, no, it's personal, gang. Now, listen. No, it's business between him and Lamar. It's personal between him and the Ravens. It's business between him and Lamar. The problem is Lamar the one that got to get hit and hit the ground. The Ravens ain't taking that shot. Lamar's the one that's going to take that shot. Pat, the Ravens offer the 14th pick and their 2027 first. Yeah, they offered the 14th pick in the draft. They offered the 2027 first round pick, and they decided those picks were more important than going after Max Crosby, which, listen, I said this multiple times. If I had the 14th pick and I'm giving it, if I had the 14th pick, the conversation would have just been, you get the 14th pick, maybe a second in the future. I'm giving you a top 15 pick. You're not getting 2. So when you talk about, Max Crosby watch and all of that, and this wasn't the Max Crosby episode, when you talk about Max Crosby watch, right? Like, if I'm the Ravens, unless I feel I need to go young and I need to reset everything, I'm okay with where I'm at, especially going into the draft. I would hold on to him unless I get the price I'm asking for. And that is what they are rumored to be doing. But just like what could have been with the DJ Moore situation, just like what could have been happening with could be happening here with the Tyson Bagent situation. Hey, look, I'm not trying to, I'm going to try and say everything I can to raise the value of the player. So again, they're taking the calls, they're listening to the calls, but we're very okay with him being on the team. Rashawn said, did you peep Caleb tweets since all this happened? We know what he know that we don't. Listen, I don't think he knows anything. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're communicating with him. He probably knows that they're trying to work something out. But I don't think that he knows that he's coming or not. I think it's more of a conversation of, you now know Caleb Williams wants Max Crosby here. You now know, and I think we knew this all along, Caleb Williams wants to play with Max Crosby. Can you get that done? And is it going to work for the now and for your future? But I said this, I think, listen, the draft is still very important. You still need to add defensive line pieces no matter what, whether you trade some of your picks away or not. But with the moves that you made, when you talk about a Devin Bush, when you talk about a Neville Gallimore, when you talk about a Kobe Bryant, who I think is the headline of all of this conversation, they get a lot better with Max Crosby in front of them. All of a sudden, you go from, those are singles and doubles to, you just hit every one of those in. You just scored 3 runs the easy way. So again, we'll see what ends up happening. I think, of course, we'll always be on watch for this. I got to get up out of here because I got to run my daughter up. The reason I'm late, it's been a very daddy-daughter day. I had to take it to the dance class and all that stuff. So I got to run my daughter up to my parents' house so she can spend the weekend with her, she can spend the next couple of days with her grandparents. And so I'm going to get up out of here. If any news breaks while I'm on the road, when I get back, of course, we will have it covered. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Willie Beam and I agree with you on point with that. I think if you hold on to that first round pick, Dylan Theineman, you are a bear. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.